Hi, everyone. Landry Etheridge here, talking today with Dr. Etta Gant with Etheridge Counseling Group here in Charleston, South Carolina. Dr. Gant, thanks so much for joining us. I'm excited to talk a little bit about creativity and collaging today.
Thanks. Yeah, it's one of my personal favorite creative outlets, and I think it's pretty unique. So I'm excited to talk about it too.
Yeah. Okay. So for somebody who maybe isn't super artistic or creative, can you describe what you mean by a collage and how that's even helpful or applicable to mental health?
Yeah, sure. So I back when I was growing up, collages were like really common. Like in elementary school, teacher would drop like just dump a bunch of like magazines that had already been cut up many times for collages and some paper and some glue and some scissors. And maybe it was about World War II or something, and you went through all the magazines, cut out related cuttings, taped it to the paper.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
and in general, a collage is taking either pictures, cuttings from magazines, things you already have, let's say postcards or a movie ticket, whatever it may be, and forming it, placing it all together on some sort of backing, usually like a piece of construction paper or poster board, but it could be something unique. So that it creates like one solid visual of all of these different materials together.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, on our blog, I've got some pictures of some of my own collages that I've made. But what I love so much about collages, again, we had talked a little bit earlier about people that feel like I'm not a natural artist. I'm not naturally,
Yeah. Not really
talented.
my
And
thing.
yeah. And for this, you are just taking what you see and pasting it down. You don't have to create the perfect apple or Eiffel Tower. You just have to find what you're attracted to or what you're drawn to or what feels intuitive to you, and you just cut it out and you put it down.
Mm.
Um, and so, what I love about collage is it's truly reconstructing something, right? Recycling, taking from something else and giving it a new life. So, especially in times where we might be feeling really depressed, down, experiencing grief, loss, or feeling really lost, like we don't know where we're going or what to do with what we're feeling or what our goals are. Collage can be it's a really intentional act of that reconstructing something new. And so, sorry, do you have anything you want to
Yeah,
say?
no, I was just thinking it's kind of like like maybe even like it sounds like a very can be a really meditative
Hmm.
process and maybe pretty accessible, I would think, for somebody who's kind of dipping their toe into being creative. This isn't something there's not a whole lot of perfectionism. I guess perfectionism can come out in doing a collage, but it's less pressure, it sounds like. And I love like, yeah, kind of the reconstruction idea. I haven't really thought of it that way, but
Hmm.
that is what it is. And I could see it kind of being clarifying. I mean, you're kind of intuitively doing something, and then you can kind of look back and reflect at what you made and maybe gather some insights, I would imagine,
Hmm.
from that.
Totally.
Would you say?
Yeah, especially in times where, yeah, you're feeling purposeless or burnout, like you're not doing enough. Like it's just the act of creating or doing something that you can hold on to.
Mhm.
And so collaging can be used to express really positive things or really negative things. And it's incredibly useful for the things that you feel like you don't have the words to say yourself, right? There's so many experiences in life where it's like, I have no words to describe this, but instead you're drawn to whatever images represent that for you. Maybe it's a swamp or a sunset or a person smiling or looking away. All of these things, you don't have to understand it perfectly. You just know that it represents something that you're feeling.
Mhm.
Um, and you get to interact with it, cut it, put it on a piece of paper. And yeah, that ability to not have to have the words yourself. Or if you see a quote that you resonate with, something that you just connect with, is very powerful.
So how does
So
somebody who hasn't done this before, how do they know what they're supposed to cut out? Is there something they're supposed to look for or something that they're not supposed to incorporate?
well, that's totally the tricky part is that, yeah, there's no rules to it. It's really what you're connected to.
Just
There,
whatever you
yeah,
feel like
there can
cutting out?
be guidelines, right? If you're wanting to do a collage, let's say about your depression, about a specific trauma that you've experienced, there are no guidelines for what that means to you or how you're supposed to feel about that or what you're supposed to think about that. And
Mm,
so engaging with pre-existing mediums, cuttings, pictures, quotes, it just helps you to connect with something that is representative that you don't have to be able to explain or have the words for. But outlining, what your intent is, what the issue is that you're wanting to explore is one way. But there's also like I put on the blog about a grief collage.
mm,
So choosing you could do a one, two, or a million ways, but one could be like an honoring of the person, the relationship, the thing that you've lost. So, yeah, in that case, you could be drawn more towards more positive representations of that thing.
mhm,
But you could also include some of the pain that you're feeling with the grief. So I used the example movie ticket earlier. You might have a movie ticket of that you went to see a movie with that person.
mm,
Um, but you might also have an image of someone, you know, crying on the bed. Or it can all be pictures of that person
mm,
and mementos, like all of the things to honor that person.
yeah.
You can do both. It's whatever you feel like you need. And I wish I could give more, but that's part of
It
the
sounds like it's pretty open-ended, like you can't really do it wrong is kind of what I'm hearing from you is it
problem.
could be you
Yeah.
can create it to be whatever you feel led to create.
Hmm.
How is a collage different than a vision board, or are those the same things?
So a vision board can be a form of collage.
Okay.
Um, so collage would be like the big umbrella thing, and a vision board is like a way more specific type of collage. And I love vision boards or treasure mapping as a way to connect with your goals and your aspirations without so much pressure from like traditional goals. Like in therapy, there's like SMART goals, measurable, attainable, realistic, tangible goals. And that is absolutely fabulous. And having realistic goals that you can measure is perfect. But this gives you the other side, maybe the right brain side. Of connecting to the aspirations behind those goals or the hopes that you um, have for reaching those goals, your dreams, all of those things. And so it's connecting with your aspirations. So looking through a magazine and seeing um, a quote using the word perseverance, if that's something you really connect to and want to tap into in your goal setting, you cut it out, you put it on in big words, and you eventually fill up the page. Mine had a lot about I'm entering a new phase of my life where I have a lot more freedom and time on my hands. And so I focused a lot on traveling and health and happiness and finally getting to put those things first in my life. And then at the end, you have a gorgeous visual representation that, if you so choose, you can even put on display as a gentle reminder of all of those hopes and dreams. It's like the fun side of goal setting.
Yeah, yeah. And kind of like becoming like sort of visualizing the direction that you're wanting to head. Um, I love that. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about collaging and vision boarding. Yeah, I mean, it might be something like you said, like, okay, I did it in elementary school, but maybe as an adult, I've not really even thought about doing that, but it can be pretty
Mm-hmm.
powerful and therapeutic thing to do. So again, we're talking with Dr. Etta Gant here at Etheridge Counseling in Charleston, South Carolina. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you.